In this lecture we are going to speak about our constants. We are going to create an Xcode project, and instead we're not going to create an Xcode project here. We are going to create a start with a playground. So click on a playground. I'm going to select iOS blank, click next, and again I'm going to save it into my iOS Bootcamp folder and call this constants. So what are the constants? When you open your playground, you will see by default this interface here, which has one line here and then import. We're going to delete this, and now we're going to talk about what the constants are. So the constants are like the constants and variables are like the building blocks of Swift or any other programming language. So the constant means that the value of this object cannot be changed when it's set. The constants are written in Swift in the following way. You say let, which means it's a constant. I don't know why Apple chooses the let keyword, but here we are. So once you have a keyword, which is our constant, we call it let, then you have a name. Here you can put any name you want. So I can say like my number, and this is my constant name, and now we are going to give it a value. We say equals, and I'm going to say 9, for example. So this means that my number is a constant because it says let here, and current value is 9. So if I click on this play button here, my Xcode, my playground will run, and it will put an output next on the right side what's going on here. So the meaning of constant is that if I say my number is equals to 10 and try to run, this will tell me that there is an error. It says cannot assign to value my number is a let constant. So it means that we cannot assign a value to this constant here because the value is already assigned here and it cannot be changed in any way. So this is what's the difference between let, between the constants and between the variables. But for example, you can say let my string is equals to hello. So the same thing with our string. You can see that the constant can be any type. It can be a string, it can be a number, it can be an array or a date or whatever. As the only point here is when you have a constant, the value of the constant cannot be changed. But let me show you one thing here. For example, you can declare a constant, say let my new number, and I'm not setting anything here, but I'm not setting the value here. So I have my new number, which is constant, but now I can put that this is a type of integer, and this is enough for Xcode not to complain, because I'm just telling it that I have this constant, my new number, and this is going to be a type of integer. If you put 2 columns here, you can put the type. And now I can say my new number is equals to 10. Now this is perfectly valid because here my new number, because here we set the value of my number at the initialization and we put it at 9, but right now at the bottom here we are saying that we have my new number constant, but it doesn't have a value here. But as soon as we set a value to our constant, it cannot be changed. So if we say my new number is equals to 11 and try to run, it will say that immutable value my new number may only be initialized, and we can actually close this, initialized ones. So we have done it already. Usually when Xcode gives you an error, you can see that the ones have it's like a stop sign with a dot in it. If I click on it, it offers me ways to fix my error. So right now, if I click on a fix button here, what is going to change is the keyword let in front of my constant here is going to be replaced with var, which stands for variable. We're going to talk about variables later on. So when it's variable, the value can be changed. But for our constants, this is the main thing you need to remember, that once you set a value, it cannot be changed. But the constant can be any type. For example, I can say that let I have an iPhone, and this can be type of Boolean. Boolean means it can be either true or false, and I said that this is equals to true. So if I say let I have an iPhone is true, I cannot say I have an iPhone is equals to false. This will be invalid redeclaration because we have already set it to be true. So indicating the type of the constant here is not necessary. Let me tell you why. Because for example, if I have it like this, the Xcode is smart enough to understand that if I put the value is equals true, it automatically assigns a Boolean type to my I have an iPhone. So if I was going to write here hey, it will assign a string to my constant name here. But for example, if I state that this is a string and then I come here and I say it equals to 9, which is an integer, it will tell me that cannot convert a value of type int, which is an integer here, to specified type string, because I have specified that my constant here is string, and then I am putting a value of an integer here. The same, I can do the like true. Again, we will have an error because here we are sending a Boolean to a value of string. So this is our constants. I can do some test here, play around if you want to test if you can change the value of our constant, but I'm sure Xcode will not let you to do this because this is the main thing about the constants. You set the value once and you cannot change them again. The difference is, now you may ask, why don't we use then something else, for example variables that we will talk about next lecture, that we can change anytime, is that the variables are a bit bigger size, heavier than the constants, and also it's good to have some type of constants in your application for some specific reasons. For example, if you are going to set an age limit to your application that the user under 18 cannot enter the application, this is a constant, so the 18 is not going to change, so you don't want to allow the user in any way to change it, so that's why you set it as a constant. Or maybe let's say you want to set the background color of your application to be a blue color, so you can set it as a constant and it stays as blue, so it cannot be changed throughout the application.